Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to another StarCraft 2 broadcast. My name is Anaris, and today we're here watching a 1 versus 1 from the Korean server between NEXSickness. You have Team Xenex up here in the top right position as the blue Protoss against the red Terran, whose name can't really get a consensus on that. I did ask on Facebook late last night, and pretty much the general conclusion is that really there is no conclusion. I guess the name really technically doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So somebody suggested that we just call him Waffles, because I guess waffles are awesome. I happen to agree with that line of thinking. And so the red player is now henceforth known as Waffles. So that's pretty much all the information I have on him. NEXSickness up here is a different story. Like I said before, he's on Team Xenex, and if his name sounds a little familiar to you, that's because he was one of the participants in the epic NEXTClan free-for-all video that I posted a couple months back. Side note, that's actually going to be my first video to 100,000 views. So if you actually, a little bit of shameless self-promotion here, if you want to go help me get over that hump, feel free. If not, that's cool too. Whatever. It is a good game, though. I will tell you that it is a good game. There's a queen that somehow manages to scale a cliff. I don't know how that is, but there's battle cruisers. I think there's nukes. There's laughter. There's tears and everything in between. So, if you want to check that video out, there'll actually be a link in the video description. But on to more important things here. We see the Terran player is opening up with fairly standard timing on everything. We've got the 1 racks gas build up here, so we're not going to see him go for like a 1 or 2 racks pressure into expansion. We'll wait and see exactly what he is going to do beyond this, though, as it is a little generic right now. Pretty much he can go anywhere at this point. The Protoss player is sitting in a pretty similar situation, although I do want to point out that the gas, let's see here. The gas is actually going down a little late compared to what we would normally see. He has been using his Chrono Boost on the Nexus, and he is saving up enough energy right now. You can see he's ticked over 27, so he may actually be waiting to dump that into Chrono Boosting out Warp Gate technology. We'll see, but you know, the fact that he does have the double gas now will lend itself very well to catching up just a tiny little bit and giving him some options later on. Of course, Protoss definitely does like the double gas as early as possible to be able to get those sentries out. Of course, Stalker's pretty gas heavy too for the early units. And lastly, if he wanted to, he could just decide to go ahead and drop this down, go with some kind of teching route while getting an expansion. There's any number of things that he could be doing, so we'll wait and see exactly what it is. Of course, we are going to be watching the match take place on Xel'Naga Caverns, one of the more balanced maps, in my opinion, can lend itself well to a variety of strategies. So that's why I don't really like predicting too much what's going to happen with these standard builds on this map. I mean, it can go so many different ways. But one thing I want to point out right now that is already a slight deviation from games that I've casted recently, a fast Ghost Academy. See, he's got 1 barracks, and he's actually building a Reaper right now, which will be great for harassment, getting in and scouting the Protoss base, which you see that he does have 1 Stalker already heading midfield, which I think is an outstanding idea, as it can pretty much counter anything the Terran player will likely send out in a scouting expedition. That's A, Marines, B, SCVs, 3 Reapers. You're less likely to see a Marauder running around, because that's a little bit too much money to just be thrown out as a scout. So there's that Reaper getting caught there. Unfortunately for him, the Stalker was already hanging out at the watchtower, and look at this. Sickness actually spots that it is heading up this way, and the Reaper, making another unfortunate turn here, heading towards the Stalker, might actually take some more damage. Yes, indeed, it gets very close to dying. 10 hit points left. But he does manage to actually get that out to safety. I do want to point out now, 1 Ghost is already on the field. Cloaking technology is on the way. So what does he have planned? This is certainly something a little unorthodox, I think. At least not something, like I said, that I've seen recently. Oh, he could have blocked that so very close, or at least hit the probe. But I think, yeah, that sentry is going to finish that off. So now we see he has dropped 2 additional gateways here, sitting in a pretty good spot. Chrono Boost about 33 or so. He may be just saving that up. We'll actually wait and see what he's got coming down the line. As far as information goes in regards to the Terran player, you could see he spotted the bunker. He sees the 1 gas. That's about it. He doesn't actually know about anything that happens to be on the way. I say on the way because there is a Ghost currently in the eastern portion of the map making its way up towards the Protoss base. See, it's kind of hugging the tentacles there, just barely out of range of that Stalker. Look at that. very, very nice, considering how we saw the Reaper just kind of loosely running around in the start. I'm glad to see the Terran player adapted very quickly and is now running past the sentries. Will he force field the ramp? Oh, I do not think so. The Ghost actually makes it. You'll notice there is no nuke, but he is definitely cloaked here and starting to take out the probes. He is able to two-shot them because you can see he actually does 20 damage to light units. You can see that right there. So this could actually prove to be very effective. The problem is, though, there is an observer on the way, and you can see it is being chrono boosted. Force fields have gone down. You can see Sickness is actually attempting to push the Ghost away. Not very successful, though. The Ghost actually currently sitting on 10 kills. Should get 11 there, maybe 12 in just a second. Yes, indeed. So 12, 13 right before he dies. So pretty good attack, I'd have to say. We can actually just look at the units lost so far and see the Protoss has definitely suffered some pretty heavy resources lost there. So, all in all, pretty impressive attack, pretty unique tactic to say the least. And of course, his command center's done. He's continuing to go into the bio. He does have one factory on the way. We'll wait and see what he does with that. Of course, for the time being, though, I think he is, like I said before, going to be sticking very heavy to bio with the early Ghosts like that. And I think it'll lend itself very well to the later portions of this game. We see those sentries are accumulating the energy very rapidly. We'll wait and see. Let's see, what does he have right now? Templar Archives. So that's a pretty natural transition, I think. He's already got the Twilight Council and the Templar Archives. The Templar, you know, they can feed back the Ghost very easily. More importantly, though, you see he's got the Observer down here. He hasn't actually headed up into the base, but he sees down here there's two Ghosts and the Marauders, the Marines, so he's probably thinking he's going to be facing some kind of bio play. Now, we'll wait and see exactly how many Marines to Marauders he actually has. I don't think the Terran player actually sees the Ghost there, or the Observer. But I'm going to be looking for the Protoss to try to counter try to do a very, very heavy infantry counterplay, and the Ghost as well. There's the Psystorm on the way, and of course the Starport, which we can probably expect to see with a reactor on it in just a moment or two. Yeah, sure enough, there's the factory dropping that just beside the Starport. And yeah, so Weapons 1 is just started off for the Terran player. Very good choice in there, and a couple additional gateways. So he is going a pretty gateway heavy build right now. Looking at the Protoss space, we do have one High Templar. Currently, we can actually just look at the income tab and see 36 to 38. So the Protoss was able to close that gap very quickly with the help, again, of those chrono boosts from the two Nexus running both at the natural and the main. Terran may be deciding to put out, or not put out here, but push out. I don't know how effective it will actually be because he does have the Ghost still kind of hanging around here. But I'm going to be waiting to see where he actually tries to land those EMPs. And I don't think he's scouted up there recently. No, last time he was up there, he saw the expansion. That's about it. He doesn't know that there's a Templar Archives. He may decide to run up there in a little bit, I don't know, but for now he does have control of both of the watchtowers. Of course, looking to take out that high yield expansion, be a very good idea to nail that as soon as possible, since he is I can't talk, essentially running without contention here in the middle of the map. Again, both watchtowers in his possession. Finally, Protoss looking to possibly do a little bit of pressure here as he is dropping a pylon at the high yield. He might actually just go ahead and decide to hit these rocks instead. I don't know. It's going to kind of depend on how confident he is once he sees this army running around, which I don't actually spot any Ghosts in there still. So, kind of wondering again exactly how effective this is going to be. There's the scan. The Terran player sees that army. He realizes that by itself, this is actually not that difficult of an army to take. But now with the High Templar in the mix and a few additional reinforcements down here, this definitely got a lot more dangerous, especially again without the Ghost. There, the force field's going down. Perfect Psystorm, taking out so much infantry right there. Wow, that was just fish in a barrel. With lightning just beating the crap out of that infantry, just no other way to put it. And of course, a couple zealots over there going to be sacrificed. Finally, the Ghosts come up here and are going to be looking to EMPs. There's a very nice shot or two right there. Unfortunately, some fantastic feedback. Wow, and the charge upgrade, of course, lending itself very well, taking out those Ghosts. That is definitely a lot of resources lost there as the Terran player is looking to try to return the favor. Takes out two High Templar. Unfortunately, he will lose a majority of those forces. The medevac should remain intact unless those sentries decide to hit that one with 3 hit points. Wow, super lucky there. Oh, whoa, Terran player, got to watch your stuff. Don't want those rally points heading right into the Protoss army. I do like the inclusion of the Archons. Of course, Archons do extra damage to biological units, which certainly comprise the bulk of the danger here for the Protoss player. So after that engagement, we could just look at the units lost tab and see 3750 to 2725. So Terran definitely suffered some pretty substantial loss there. As far as workers go, you can still see 16 to nothing on that, 28 to 34 as we get ready to pass the 15-minute mark. Terran is looking pretty good down here. Expansion quite solid. I don't think he has another command center yet. No, he does not. I would expect to see him try to get that very soon, though. He still has the set of destructible rocks up here, and this high yield is clear, so he might actually try to take either one of those. Once he might decide to go ahead and take the high yield, he can get a planetary fortress up there, which would be pretty effective, especially considering the forces that we see running around here, which are mostly melee or darn close to it. A couple sentries running around for support, get some force fields. That's about it. I think there's yeah, some High Templar running around here undefended. And one thing I would like to see the Terran player do, actually, get some Hellions. You look at the Protoss player right now. Yes, there are High Templar running around, but you look at the mineral line, it is fairly exposed. He can get in here and do a ton of economic damage. Same thing up here, just run right up the top of the ramp. No force fields actually there to stop the Hellions from running around, and he already does have the factory here. So I'm hoping that we're going to see him do something like that. More so, you know, with the Hellions, you can get in behind the Protoss player, or you can actually hit those Zealots. Nice Psystorm landing on top of the Marines. Oh man, another one there. That High Templar definitely paying for itself right before it dies. And one more Storm to drive off the Terran players. Is he going to try to go for another one? I don't know. Kind of extending himself there. Oh, nice feedback on the medevac. That's actually really going to hurt his ability to heal there. And more force fields have gone down. Terran player, the bulk of his army was behind it, so he able to take out those Zealots. Those meat shields are going down very quickly. Protoss is going to have to retreat back here to a more defensible position. Now we can, I think right now at this point, be a great place for those force fields again, but you see, unfortunately, he does not have the energy for that. Of course, he doesn't have a lot of energy for Storm either, just one or two. The rest of it's for feedback, taking out a bunch of those medevacs there. Very, very much needed. Unfortunately for the Protoss player, there is several ghosts here with plenty of energy for EMP. So those High Templar aren't going to be quite as effective. Nice sniping going on there. Although I don't think he has enough energy for any more EMP. Instead, he's just going ahead trying to snipe the High Templar. Unfortunately for him, though, he is going to have to fall back because those Zealots would cut him off from the rest of the army. And losing 800 minerals with 40 units there, definitely not something we have happen. Whoa, Psystorm blanket. Fortunately for the Terran, he was able to get his forces out just in the nick of time. The battle is going to rage on, though, as Terran looks to actually finish off this expansion, putting them in equal ground once again, base to base here with the Protoss. We can actually just look at the income, 51 to 56. The Protoss sitting slightly ahead there on the minerals. Here on Xel'Naga Caverns, there goes what I think he was looking for, observers there. But yeah, as far as units lost, you could see the Protoss back on the losing side of this battle as he is forced to retreat down here to a quite defensive position. I do like this spot. It would be pretty difficult for the Terran player to actually come in here and assault this at this point, simply because he doesn't quite have the firepower to bust through a choke like this with all the Zealots and the threat of the Psystorm here on at the natural expansion. He is going to be sticking with the bio play, though. It's kind of an interesting decision. Like I said before, Hellions, I think, would be very good at this point. Maybe a siege tank or two to help bust this up, but that would require at least a few minutes worth of investing there, and might not be the easiest way to actually deal with this, especially with all the Zealots running around here. The thing is, though, that is a lot of Zealots, and you see this army is turned very Marauder heavy. Zealots, of course, great against Marauders. Marauders Marauders are very good against Psystorm. So, oh, now that's perfect. EMPs right there. The entire Protoss army has had its shield negated. Well, okay, maybe like one High Templar there and one Archon left, but still, that was plenty enough. Plenty enough EMP to drive the Protoss back. He is going to lose one of those High Templar. Second one almost going down. Zealots coming to the rescue there. One thing I'm surprised we actually have not seen so far this game is any attempt at a nuke. I mean, he had these go super early. I would think by now he could at least load one up. Does he actually have one? I haven't paid attention. No, he has not. So he's just going to continue with the Marine Marauder, Medevac, and Ghost Play, which can be very effective, but really it comes down to positioning, comes down to whether or not those force fields will contain them and just annihilate it. That is probably the biggest threat there. The force fields plus the Psystorm. We saw that used to great effectiveness in an early play by the Protoss, just sandwiching and annihilating that first army. He is looking to make a move over here. He's got a ton of Zealots right now. Zealot Archon, the High Templar running around way back here. Unfortunately, he doesn't quite have enough Psystorm to do a lot of damage. Maybe one or two, that's about it. There's the force fields. He was able to take out some infantry. Not a lot, though. Also up here we have the Hero Marine. You can see he's got one kill already, taking out this pylon. Managed to actually get rid of the shields. Here comes the Zealot now. Going to be taking that out super quick. And with both players working on their high yields now, of course the Protoss, I think, very good call here to take double expand to try to catch up for the lost time that he had trying to build this and get this going. He knows that the Terran player has got this high yield, so he really wants to catch up. Of course, the income now looking pretty darn good for the Terran player, about 1,400 to 800 there in terms of minerals, 51 to 57 on the supply count. Units tab right now, you can just kind of get a quick glimpse of what we have. We finally do have a nuke. There's one EMP hitting one Templar in particular, but that is enough to drive the Protoss away. Now, this is what I was talking about. Be a great thing to have some Hellions come over here and just blue flame the crap out of those High Templar after, say, an EMP or something like that. Also right here, perfect spot. Finally, cannons are going down at this expansion, but you see still nothing up here. And, of course, this one's just about mined out right now. But, oh, man, Protoss looks like he may be trying to move forward. I don't know. Ooh, so many medevacs. Looks like feedback heaven there. Just another minute or two once those things have a lot of energy. One shot the crap out of them. But for now, we do have NEXSickness sitting up here, continuing with the Archon play. I think that's a pretty good idea. Again, very effective against biological units. Although I think it is kind of interesting here. He is going pretty heavy Archon, running 2 armor. But, you know, the armor is mainly for the Zealots. The Zealots only have 50 shields. The EMP isn't quite as effective when you consider they have 100 health. And, oh man, there's the force fields going down. It looks like the Zealots will be able to take out some of the forces. Not a lot of them. The majority of them, again, are up here. And now, with these force fields here, they are a choke point, creating a choke point for the Protoss. He needed to get that Archon up there, bust that down so he can get up here and do some more damage. Those Zealots were coming up here doing a great job tanking damage, but for what? That, like I said, they don't have any weapons upgrades. They're getting up there, they're absorbing tons of damage, but the Protoss wasn't able to follow through with anything else. You can see there the couple Ghosts actually working on taking out a couple pot shots against the Zealots. Of course, the Terran army, he's got a couple Marines, but still mostly Marauders there. Very good at dealing with the Archons. Not so much for the Zealots. Of course, that's simply because there's so many of them. Saw another feedback or two there. So all in all, I have to say we're still pretty much on even ground here for the moment. That being said, with the longer the Protoss player has this expansion and this one, I think we're going to see him kind of pull slightly ahead here, because the Terran is not responding in kind. You see he is building a few more barracks. That's about it. Protoss coming in here actually trying to get a few extra kills. Not quite as heavy on the Zealots as he probably would like to be. Terran, of course, falling back to a nice spot right here with the Planetary Fortress. Very easy to defend there between those structures, not allowing those Zealots to actually get that surround and limit the Terran army mobility that he relies so heavily upon. Oh, here's a Ghost coming in here with a nuke, but oh, I don't think he was paying attention. He's not going to see the cannon. Too late. Good night, Sally. Good night. Units lost now. It's actually pretty close, still remaining around 2k of each other in terms of unit quantity, still pretty close. Income, right now, Terran definitely ahead despite the SCV discrepancy there. Of course, that is made up for the Protoss with the additional gas. He does need that for the High Templar. And, man, here we go again. Protoss looking to move in. Force fields going down. You see actually a lot more units were caught this time by the force fields than the previous. Of course, a couple Zealots coming over here and absorbing most of the firepower for the Terran while the Archons and High Templar did the rest up there. We'll wait and see if he's actually going to try to push this again. I don't know if that's going to work out so well for him. The Zealots again charging around the force fields, kind of overextending themselves down there, allowing the Terran player to get some extra shots. all these medevacs here are like, seriously a quarter health or less, man. He can just come in here with a few shots and annihilate them. And speaking of annihilation, there we go. That Archon just looking around. See, shot one to the left, shot one to the right. Pure Protoss style right there at its finest. As he looks to try to maybe possibly contain the Terran down here to the high yield and possibly beyond. I'm not sure if he's actually going to be able to follow it up, though, as you see that he does have quite a bit of money saved up. If those units had come down just a few seconds before, he may have been able to push and try to hold the Terran down here for a little while longer until he had enough to actually take out this this planetary fortress, which you can see does not have the range upgrade. But for now, not really that important, as it is, like I said, just primarily Zealots and Archons running around here. Both attack are well within the range of the planetary fortress, which actually, speaking of that, you see the high yield is just about mined out here. The Terran is going ahead with this expansion down here. Good call, but the Protoss, again, out-expanding his opponent. Terran is going to have to take this expansion, and like I said, go and do some harassment up here. All he's done so far is just try to bust up here through the middle of the map with his Bioball, and it hasn't proven that effective. Here we go now. Nice EMP landing on top of the High Templar. This will cause the Protoss, you can see, to make an Archon and maybe step back from at least doing harassment for a little bit longer. We'll wait and see actually how effective that is, though. Another planetary fortress coming down here. So I think we have 2 orbitals, 2 planetaries for the Terran player, as the Protoss looks once again to try to assert a little bit more control over the mid-map. There's one Ghost there, a ton of energy. He's going to have to watch that. He does not want the feedback, as the High Templars are moving in to take the lead, looking for any opportunities that they may find to get some Ghosts there. Oh, going in for one. He did indeed go down. The Terran is actually letting his units run up there, not paying attention, finally pulling those back. Oh man, that could have turned very deadly very fast for him. Just a matter of seconds, could have force fielded that off, and that would have been it for that army. So we do have Colossi on the way. Finally, we're going to see a nice solid counter here to what so far has been, again, just a standard Bioball with Ghosts included there. Marine Marauder Medevac. I definitely think if he's able to pull out those Colossi in sufficient numbers to catch the Terran player off guard, I think he'll be able to make that final solid push. But it remains to be seen here. Oh, whoa! Nice ballsy High Templar there, as he does head toward and try to do more feedback. Again, the medevac's going down super quick. The one thing that the Terran or the Protoss player is going to have to watch out for, rather, if he reveals his transition into Colossi play too early without having enough, then the Terran player can easily adapt. You could see he's already got the starport with the reactor right here, so some Vikings in the army would not be that big of a switch for the Terran player and could easily negate the Colossi. So it's going to be up to NEXSickness here to try to incorporate that at the proper time. Like I said, do not want to let the Terran player know that until he knows for sure he can make a solid push. And speaking of solid, let's actually just look at the army right now. 136 to 175 income, 51 to 65. Protoss has definitely shot ahead here. Looking over here, you can see pretty decent spot. Enough cannons there to withstand a light assault. And the Protoss coming back, not really confident that he's going to be able to really do a good job here on this engagement. Does not want to overextend himself. Despite the 40 supply difference, you know, those EMPs can definitely make a huge difference, and if the Psy Storms don't land properly, then that's going to be it. Now, he is going to be pulling 2 of his Colossi down here, and oh, look at that. The Terran player is going to spot that right off the bat. Nice scan right there. Sees that, so he actually will probably be able to get some Vikings here in just a matter of moments. So here we go with the Ghosts, actually annihilated by the EMPs, taken out of the equation completely, so you can expect to see them turning into Archons, at least what's left of them there. One of them was trying to, as Terran's looking like he's going to try to force the engagement now that there's no more Psy Storm, but look at this High Templar coming in from the right side with Colossi support, blanketing the army. That is a huge win there for the Protoss, as he finishes off what's left of the Terran. Just a couple Marauders, that's about it. Further increasing the gap there, 86 to 150 there. The Colossi doing some decent damage. Vikings are finally on the way. But wow, the Terran player just got rocked there with the force fields, the Psy Storm, the splash damage from the Colossi, and the Archons to back it up with their heavy damage against Bio. You could see right there, 43 damage with a 2 weapons upgrade. And finally, the Vikings have appeared. Terran is going to be taking a... Oh, interesting. Command center right there. In addition to one right here, probably just one to be safe. He could turn this into a planetary fortress, but we'll wait and see exactly what he's going to be trying to do. Oh, he may actually think he can get this expansion right here. Well, a little bit of news for you, buddy. there is aside from that expansion already being taken, there is a substantially larger army there for the Protoss. This might actually be the one that could take the kill here. He is annihilating some of the production facilities as the Terran player actually assumes a very nice defensive position here, about as good as he could hope for, right next to the planetary fortress. But this will fall very quickly to the army from the Protoss has fielded here today. As we get ready to go past the 35-minute mark, I say this is indeed quite over for the Terran player. There was really nothing he could do. Riding the bottom of the barrel with the money, sitting on an army that is pretty much entirely comprised of SCVs. Oh, he could launch a nuke. Oh, there is the lack of a GG right there. Okay, so that is going to be it, folks. Yes, the Terran now realizing, can't expand there. So, thank you guys again for watching. Sorry about that little interruption there towards the end. Maybe notice the video kind of split there. Cat jumped up on my keyboard and got all up ons. But anyways, thank you guys. If you did enjoy the video, please remember to subscribe and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'm out.